I just counted that I have 11 USB controllers on this setup besides mouse and keyboard. Let's take a closer look to see how it actually works. This video will be a bit deeper dive into my controller setup. First, I'm going to talk you through this controller setup while playing something simple in Star Citizen, since that's what this channel is mostly about. And then I'm also going to talk something about the software that I have to make everything work. But first, let's address the elephant in the room. I have two joysticks in here. This is something that many people who especially are not familiar with the space simulators ask quite often, why do I have two joysticks? This is what is called HOSAS as hands-on stick and stick, as opposed to HOTAS, hands-on throttle and stick. While you're flying in atmosphere, you can basically change the way you're heading and the roll. That's what you use joystick and pedals for. But you're going forward, only forward, and you can just control how fast you're going forward with the throttle. In space, you can also go forward and backward, left and right, up and down if you have thrusters in the right places. And I can control all those three axes with the left joysticks. You'll see soon how it works. If you're interested in building a HOSAS setup yourself, there are basically 3 tiers at the moment that you can get. The cheapest option is Thrustmaster 16000, and it has received some mixed reviews. Some people recommend it for the first setup, and some say that they've had some quality issues with the twist axis. I don't have any personal experience with it, so it's difficult for me to comment. Second tier is VKB's Gladiator series, and people usually consider it being as best bang for the buck and most sensible option. And you can also get it with this angled adapter that I have here also. And the top tier is either Virpil or VKB's Gunfighter series. I'm myself using Virpil controllers mostly here. And I can already smell the smoke coming from some of your keyboards when you're typing fast and furious that want to say that I must be a complete idiot for building and buying all the stuff for playing Star Citizen. Well, first of all, it's the game I enjoy playing, and good thing that you're not forced to play it. But second thing is also that I can actually quite easily modify this setup so I can play any flight simulators with it. Now let's jump in and see how this thing works. I just accepted a simple package delivery mission, and I'm sitting in my Avenger Titan. So first of all, let's arm the ejection sheet. I don't even know if the ship has it, but it's armed. And start the ship. I'm going to talk through these old DIY panels a bit later. But let's get up and show you how this thing operates. So landing gear up, it actually doesn't matter which direction I move this, because the game only has a landing gear toggle at the moment. For my right hand controls, I have the basic pitch and roll on the joystick and yaw on my pedals. That might not be the most competitive setup for space simulators, but that's the most fun setup for me, and in the end that's my main emphasis for the game. It's not about being a good player or anything like that, it's just building an amazing setup and having fun playing with it. Other basic stuff that I have on my right hand joysticks are power distribution and decoys. Stuff that I just need to access fast when in battle. On my left joystick I have thruster when I push it forward and side strafe when I push it side. And this is the reason for this angled adapter here. When I use the twist axis up, it actually strafes up, and same goes down. This is just far more natural than having a normal joystick. Other basic stuff that I have on my left hand joystick are just mostly targeting control stuff, like selecting the nearest enemies and selecting the one in front of me and stuff like that. My throttle currently controls the speed limiter, and I can use it, for example, with the cruise control to just move in a bit more relaxed fashion than having constantly pushing the left joystick forward. Other than that, I have some basic stuff here like docking controls, and this flap lever controls actually the mining laser power, which is really useful for this one. Now we can jump to the quantum. I have this one actually puts on the quantum engine on, and then the below lever engages my quantum drive. This is just a kind of fun setup for me, and also the right side is reserved when we can jump from the one system to another. Other than that, I have the Virpil control panel number 1 on the left side and the control panel number 2 on the right side. And later I'm going to switch the sides because the landing gear lever feels just more natural on the left side if you're flying normal simulators. In space it doesn't matter that much. Other basic stuff that I have on the left side are, for example, different modes like mining mode or scanning, and other basic controls like ship lights and stagger mode and stuff like that. And these are just to pin and select the pin targets. On the right side I have something like communication stuff, mobile class stuff, naturally the landing gear lever, and then doors and VTOL and stuff like that. And these are what you might expect from things, so ejecting the cargo and self-destruct. Other than that, I have also Stream Deck here on the left side. This is mostly stuff that I use at the moment to control stuff like Discord, and I'm planning to use it to control stuff or apps outside the Star Citizen in the future too. Okay, before we closing into our destination, I could show you quickly how my weapons operate here. It is just quite simple here. I can control the weapon setup, basically arm the weapons with this one. This really doesn't do anything special except changes the button on my joystick so that it actually operates the weapons. So the first press, light press is the main weapons, and full press is all the weapons. Other than that, this is really just for fun. I like just red color and everything, nothing special with that one. And then the missile mode, I use the Virpil flip trigger to control the missile mode and fire up the missiles. This is a bit challenging and it might eventually get out of sync because there's only the toggle for missile mode, but nothing else. Coming in for the landing, I'm just going to slow down a bit over my landing gear here, and when I'm just close enough, it's basically the same thing as with the weapons mode. I'm going to change my landing mode, which just changes the joystick curves to make it less responsive and makes the landing easier. This border is something that I control through joystick gremlin, and the lights are controlled through Virpil software. Okay, in for a nice soft landing here, hopefully. And landing mode off and thrusters off. So all of these my custom made panels are something that I have designed in Fusion 360 and just 3D printed myself. The buttons and switches are connected to the Leo Bodnar board with the 64 places for buttons that I have behind this computer. Same includes everything, all the custom buttons. And then the LEDs are just connected to a 3 amp power source, and I also can control the dimness from this one. The power button itself, the power key, actually doesn't do anything with the game. It's just something I rigged to start up my PC when I turn it off, just another fun extra detail. Okay, now that we're going to get the package, I'm just going to quickly show you the FPS controls. Since I have the keyboard on my right side, this is just the basic monitor arm that I'm using here. I can actually grab it easy if I need to and take it to my lap, for example. But since that would be clumsy quite often, I have a Razer Tartarus V2 here on my left side that I control for the FPS game. I don't spend that much time on FPS mode. Now that we have our package on board, it's time to put the thrusters online again and take off. So the last big thing that I have here is the center panel. This is something I actually got myself after one of my game class tablets just broke down. I had old second-hand tablets. This is LG's 25-inch ultra-wide screen, and unfortunately it isn't a touchscreen, but it still fits my cockpit just well enough, so I'd really like to have it here. With Star Citizen, I use it with the game class custom chart that I can control with the trackball here. There's nothing special with it, and I think until we'll get some APIs for Star Citizen, it will be more useful with stuff like Flight Simulator when I'm using it with something like Air Manager 4 myself. Here's also Stream Deck Mini to control it. I can, for example, have air-cool here on another display if I want to access that or some other information quickly. And then I also have this ejection seat handle. This is actually something I designed, printed and made myself, and then I also have a separate video out of it. So if you want to see how it works and perhaps grab the 3D files and print it yourself, you can go and see that video also. Closing in on our delivery destination. So I think I might mention something about the software that I'm using to run all this. Besides the Virpil software, I'm actually using joystick trembling and VJoy. What it does is that VJoy is a virtual joystick that is seen by software as just basic controller as anything else, but I can control then how many buttons and everything I have. And I use the joystick gremlin to control the VJoy. So when I, for example, squeeze the trigger here, nothing happens since I'm using weapon mode. Now, the joystick gremlin captures the press and sends it to the VJoy that sends it to the computer, and it might seem a bit overly complicated, but it allows me to have actually more detailed control for everything, and I can make different modes and everything. It helps with the custom panels and stuff like that. And also I'm using heat hide since I need to hide the actual physical controllers for all software. Okay, we're coming in really bad weather for perhaps a bit rough landing. Let's add some lights and landing mode and gear, and let's see if I can land this thing here or just crash and burn. Okay, nice landing, thrusters off, and let's go deliver the package. And heading home after a successful package delivery, let's just ask for landing permission. And I actually also have a Tobii Eyetracker here. I haven't used it here. I normally use it when I'm dogfighting, especially with the light fighter. If you're interested in seeing something about that one, you can check my previous video where we had some fun with a friend and 2 Talons and tried to do an ERT bounty with it. Again, in for a nice soft landing here. Let's turn the lights on. And here we go. Thrusters off and actually all the systems off. And as you can see, I'm already sweating quite badly since this is a small room. I have a lot of stuff here, and it's also pretty hot here in Finland. It has been over 30 degrees, which is probably an average melting point for a Finn, except in sauna, that's a different story. Anyway, I don't have my fan on yet because I've been trying to shoot these videos. But hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe.